Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Jolene with Jovi Star Astrology. I hope you're doing well. Uh, I'm going to talk to you today about Mars and its ingress into the sign of Libra. So we'll go through the chart. I'll show you the key dates, what kinds of aspects it's making. Not a lot of aspects, at least initially from Mars, but it's important to understand what the planet Mars is about and how it acts in the sign of Libra. So Libra, which rules the seventh house in the zodiac, is all about relationships and partnerships. It's about working with other people. Um, rather than just ourselves. And Libra is the sign that wants balance and harmony. It's all things Venusian. Libra is ruled by Venus. And so it covers things like music and art and beauty. Libra also represents legal issues, the balancing of the scales, justice, harmony, fairness. And Mars rules the sign of Aries, and it is exactly the opposite of those things. Mars in Aries is all about focusing on what you want, what I want. And so Mars is how we take action. So it represents our physical activity, it represents aggression and desire, how we take action. And in the sign of Aries, fire sign, a cardinal fire sign that takes action, it wants to move forward quickly and usually with itself in mind. So Mars being in the sign of Libra, which is exactly the polar opposite of Aries, doesn't operate very well. In fact, Mars in the sign of Libra is said to be in its exile. So that means that it does not function well in and around or dealing with Venusian type things, Libra. So even though Libra wants to be diplomatic and harmonious and have balance, Aries doesn't. So it's an interesting placement for Mars. It can be used very nicely if we are using decorum and constraint. Libra is a social sign, it's an air sign, so it is about communication. And it can bring, Mars and Libra can bring balance into difficult situations. Now, at the same time, because Mars doesn't feel comfortable taking the kind of action that it's used to in the sign of Libra, it can also be a little bit sideways in its expression. So what I mean by that is that it could be compromising or unable to actually take action. So it can be, in a sense, a little bit manipulative, right? Or not able in its Venusian expression to handle the strength of a planet like Mars. So it's very important that the use of Mars in Libra is focused on intently, right? Like, what are we doing? Mars in Libra is going to bring situations in that have to do with working with other people, and that can be aggressive situations. It can be things that we have to negotiate or come to some kind of compromise or agreement. And the important thing would be to actually communicate um, in a very fair and balanced way. So we have Mars having entered Libra on August 27th. So that was yesterday. Will stay in Libra until October 12th. And so during that time, we still have a Venus retrograde that we've been dealing with. It comes out of retrograde on the 4th. So that's just, I think, what's that, this coming weekend. But we'll still be in its shadow phase, and Venus will continue to transit through the sign of Leo, where it's been all summer, potentially creating havoc with our finances and our relationships and our kids. And I've talked about that in other videos. But the reason why the position of Venus is important when we are talking about Mars transiting in the sign of Libra, is that Venus is the ruler. So whenever we're looking at a planet going through the sign of Libra, we're paying attention to what's going on with Venus. So if there have been difficulties in any of those Venusian areas, as Leo has been transiting through in retrograde in the sign of Leo, and squaring Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus back and forth over the summer, also ruled by Venus, Taurus. We got a lot of Venusian stuff going on in cosmos since the beginning of the summer. And now we're adding a Mars in the sign of Libra. But actually, this could be a time when, if used appropriately, we can actually start to balance out some of the issues that may have occurred over the summer with this Venus retrograde, as long as we're being honest and on the up and up. Libra, Saturn, the sign Saturn is in its exaltation in the sign of Libra, hence the justice and the balance and doing things the right way. So that can be very helpful, having a little bit of a Saturnian flavor in the mix for trying to balance out, some kind of drama that may have been happening for us over the summer with the Venus retrograde. So it's a good opportunity to communicate and take a look at how we might be able to come in and actually take action to balance out any kind of issues in our lives and in our relationships specifically. Obviously, Libra, having ruling the 7th house, has everything to do with relationships, like I mentioned. So with the South Node in Libra, we are looking at this transit as being very important to the transiting nodes in Aries and Libra, and also because Mars in Libra, ruled by Venus, Mars rules Aries. So this transit is affecting the nodal axis, the transiting nodal axis in North Node Aries, South Node Libra. So that is, it kind of makes for the possibility of situations that are coming up and how we're going to maneuver these things and, reconcile them out, part of the evolutionary process in the collective, and if it's affecting you, for you personally. So I'm going to take you through and show you the chart and what this looks like from the time of the ingress. So you can see here we have Mars at 0 degrees in the sign of Libra, entering in on August 27th, yesterday. I'm recording this on Monday, August 28th. And as it moves in to the sign of Libra, there really isn't much happening. So, Mars traveling through a sign like Libra too can also be, it can also feel like, depending on where it's hitting you in your chart, it can also feel like within some kind of relationship or collaboration. And this also includes potentially lawsuits, so legal issues, because Libra rules that the other party may seem to be a little bit more aggressive or even passive aggressive in the sign of Libra. So as Mars has gone into Libra, there aren't too many aspects. We do still have Venus down here that we're looking at in Leo. And the good thing about being able to balance out situations within relationships right now, or situations, is that Mars will be making a sextile for a lot of its transit to Venus in Leo, which kind of gives us an opportunity to its sextile is a 60-degree separation between planets. So there is a connection there, and there's some understanding, and it gives us an opportunity to actually use some of the Venusian Libran qualities to to address some of the issues potentially with the Venus retrograde. So a sextile is very nice. We actually have to reach for it. It's an opportunity. But if we can grasp the energy of the Venusian style that Mars will be taking up in the sign of Libra, it can actually be helpful. And that sextile will be in effect for most of the transit, at least until, because Venus will come out of its retrograde and begin to move forward. So as you can see, Mars is moving forward in the sign of Libra, and then Venus as well. So for much of this, there will be a sextile. So that is very helpful. There are a couple of sort of intense moments during this transit. One would be when Mars begins to come into an opposition with Chiron in Aries. And so we know Chiron in Aries is our own personal wounding. And Aries ruled by Mars can be anger, aggression. It can also be physical injuries. Aries rules the head. And that opposition there could create some kind of tension. Now, Libra rules things like the lower back and the kidneys and the skin. And so that could be an opposition is something that we need to balance out. So Mars is where we take action. This would be a day where we want to be pretty careful how we're moving our body or how we're communicating so that the Aries and Libra axis opposition is balanced out nicely, so that there aren't any accidents, for instance, physical injuries or blow-ups, blow-ups and issues within relationships. As Mars moves through Libra and comes very, very close towards the end of its transit, will be coming very close, and you can see there, conjunct the South Node in Libra. This is an interesting day or time period. This will actually be in effect from about 3 degrees before, so we can start looking for this to show up for us right around September the 30th and remain in effect. Right there, you have the exact conjunction on October the 4th, which interestingly enough is just, well, it's just a couple days before Venus moves into Virgo. But that indicates that there could be some kind of clearing out of an old situation, potentially a relationship, or something that may be coming back in that we're familiar with, right? Something that we have to negotiate, pick up from a prior time potentially in our life, or maybe even a past life, if you believe in those types of things. I do. And so, I wanted to say too, the last time that Mars was in Libra was in September and October of 2021. So you can take a look back during that time period to see if there are any similar themes coming up right now as Mars goes into Libra that were presenting themselves back in 2021, right around this time. A lot of times when you go back and compare time periods and similar transits, we can see similarities. So take a look back at 2021, September and October. But this could be a karmic clearing of something that may have been going on back then, or just something that has to do with a relationship, or something that has to be balanced out in some way between another person and ourselves. Chiron is getting very close to coming into conjunction with the North Node. So this could be about our healing, our own personal healing, and through and with another person or within a relationship. So keep an eye out for those dates there. Now, just as Mars gets to the very end of its transit in the sign of Libra, you can see here, just having passed the South Node, and just before we have an eclipse, which will be a solar eclipse in the sign of Libra, it will square Pluto. That day, that's going to be on October the 7th. So it'll be October the 7th and the 8th. That is a very powerful transit, potentially an explosive transit. So if there is something going on with the relationship, or physically you're feeling a little weak and dealing with some of those things that I mentioned that Libra and Aries rule, this would be a time to be very, very careful. Mars square Pluto is a very powerful transit. The square creates tension, and so there is some kind of an action that needs to be taken, or some kind of pressure that needs to be relieved when it comes to squares. That's kind of how they express, right? Or it could be something that we have to sort of stop and we can't continue, but we will still hold that tension. So that would be a potentially intense time that we might need to watch. And that, again, will be right before the solar eclipse in the sign of Libra. So that is Mars transit through the sign of Libra, and some things that you might keep an eye out for. I'm going to stop the share here. I think, again, like I said, with Venus, watching Venus and planets that are traveling that are ruled by Venus, and of course, Taurus rising and Libra rising, it's important to keep an eye on where those planets have been and where they're going during those kinds of transits. And so when I look at this, and then, knowing we have Mercury retrograde and Venus is still retrograde, and we have Mars coming into Libra, and we know that Mercury retrograde is taking a look back and sort of, having conversations or outlining the details or trying to mend fences or put things back together. And that could be physically as well, right? Virgo is a physical sign. That having Mars go into Libra could be advantageous for us if we use it correctly. Again, Venus comes out of its retrograde this weekend, but will remain in shadow until the end of September and remain in Leo through the beginning of October. But also for Taurus rising and Libra rising, who have been very, very affected by the Venus retrograde, because Venus is their chart ruler, right? Taurus and Libra are ruled by Venus. So having been very affected by that, now that we have Mars going into Libra, this could be an opportunity to do a little bit of cleanup, right? Especially with that sextile to Venus and Leo. So I hope that we can use this to our advantage. Let me know if there's anything going on, right? Are you not feeling well? Are you having back problems? Are you having kidney problems, right? Are you having relationship problems, or financial issues, or problems with your children? Mars going into Libra can help us balance that out. Again, also legal issues, problems that we're having to deal with when it comes to other people in our lives and relationships. Mars going into Libra can help, or we can actually take this opportunity to bring people in, somebody who's very good at balancing the energy of Mars and Libra. So somebody like a counselor, or a lawyer, or a mediator of some sort, right? If we can't seem to balance that out and, express Mars and Libra in an advantageous way, we can have people come in and create relationships with other people that can help us manage or clean up some of the issues that we might be, taking a look at these days, or have had experienced these days. So that is Mars and Libra, right? I digress. I always go back. Oh, so I'm going to talk a little bit more about this, or a little bit more about that. I will be back. We have a full moon in Pisces on Wednesday, August 30th, and I'm working on a video for that. That should be a very interesting full full moon, right? I'll talk about that during the next video, but should be very interesting, could be very healing, or it could be very much some type of reality check or emotional, right, in the sign of Pisces, but I'll go through that in the next video. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would really, really appreciate it. Thanks for coming back. If you are a diehard and you keep coming back to listen to the videos and comment, like and share, I appreciate that you've done that, and would be very grateful if you will do that for me again. If you'd like to take a look at your birth chart, my email and my website are down below. I'd love to meet you. And I will see you soon, probably tomorrow for the video on the full moon, maybe on Wednesday, it kind of depends. But definitely we'll see you soon and have a little chit chat about that. I hope you're all doing well. Until next time, may the stars forever be in your favor. Take good care.